model to us, to me, and I know to many of us here and all over the world. How can you hold the space and at the same time go into your deep work? Because everyone is human, and that's what I'm learning. Like, even our masters, they also go really deep into vulnerability and all of that. So can you share?
I feel so humbled over. It's incredible. I feel when I'm connected with everyone here, there's such a unity. There's a bonding that takes place, that has been taking place over the course of the retreat, that has opened me up to so much more profound vulnerability and humility, that my heart is just like wide open, you know, and transparency and this feeling, this liberation that comes with all of that. It just makes me so much in gratitude.
How do we achieve this vulnerability when we are so protected, you know, when we are afraid of opening up?
And that's the layers that need to come off. And with self-care practice, it starts to peel off like an onion, you know, little by little. But what is the catalyst to all of those onions peeling off is that we, as a collective group here, as we've experienced, is that we share each other's love. There's no judgment. There's absolutely no judgment. There's only pure love and pure acceptance and pure the integrity of us is being acknowledged and respected. And the bond that we've created because of all of those things set in place is incredible. Like, I feel like, you know, we just met like 2 weeks ago when we started this journey, but I feel like, you know, like we're like soul sisters, you know, already, you know? And this is how I feel with everybody here, men or women. It's like, my God, soul brothers and soul sisters. And it's just a tremendous, heartwarming experience.
How beautiful it is to recognize this oneness, this you know, connection that we share. You know, we share, all of us, the same sky, the same sun, we all have our stories, and you know, just embracing our brothers and sisters and being a safe space for them to open up. Yes, integrating all these techniques, from all these techniques that you have, what would you say that it's like the most profound one?
Well, for me, it's the profound opening or awakening in my personal journey is the incredible medicine that comes from the earth, from nature. And coming from a clinical, also I have a clinical background, and being in the medical community, it's such a big contrast to take in nature's medicine and fully embracing it and purging, literally purging all of trauma, unconscious, and even through karmic or lineage, whatever you want to call it. The purging of it has made me feel so liberated and so wholesome and so much more of myself, as though my true essence is not being distracted by anything. Nothing gets in the way of that. And it's, for me, that's the natural medicine that I've experienced here.
The natural medicine, everything's available for us. You just said something really interesting, that nothing gets in your way. Like, you are aligned with your purpose. That's what you mean when you say you are aligned with your purpose. How can we be focused on that? Like, every single day, every moment, like, what technique we can use?
When we start to step outside of our own ego and our own self, and we look at the big picture of the impact of our actions, And this is, in the Buddhist, this is what you call the Buddha nature. When you see the Buddha nature within us, inside of us, this is our true nature, right? Humility, compassion, love, joy, and happiness. Those are all innate inside of us. And this is the journey that comes into fruition when people start to embrace these practices. And it takes work. I mean, it's not just a cognitive thing to think about, okay, to read about or to get cognitive therapy about. Cognitive therapy helps us to understand where our issues are coming from, and that's the beauty of that. I love that. However, we need to embody our feelings. We need to embody our emotions. We need to physically be able to release our emotions through physical work, physical exercise, breathing techniques, sound healing. There's so many things out there. There's particular exercises to release trauma. You know, I talk about, a lot of my practice has to do too with sexual vitality and harnessing the sexual energy to serve us, to nourish our organs. And this is an ancient philosophy. But once you can tap into your sexual organs, you can release so much trauma there. You have abundance of creativity. Abundance comes in spite of anything.
Just clicked me, because we come from the sexual organs, right? This is a wound, and we are created here, sex, and then
it's the union of two cells creating billions of cells and creating a miracle, and in the form of a human being. And how beautiful is that, you know? So there's nothing taboo around our sexuality that is natural to us. It's just the conditioning of society that suddenly turns it into a taboo subject. But it's so beautiful to embrace the womb and where we came from. And when in the Tantra and Tao practice, there's ways in which to make love to someone, your beloved. That is so beautiful. It's like playing a beautiful music from beginning to end. You don't even want it to end, you know, making love to someone so beautifully and so richly, so fulfilling, that you're so satiated that it becomes even a sacred experience. Ultimately, it's a sacred spiritual experience.
It goes from a simply release or a wanting, a desire to actually really a sexual ritual, a practice, a spirituality practice.
It becomes, you know, you talked about oneness earlier.
Oneness, yes.
When you can embrace these kinds of concepts and awakening with your beloved, you become one. There's no duality. You're one. You're one piece in union. This is why they call it a union. You just become one. And it's the most beautiful thing. I mean, my God, you know? You see the light. You see the light in each other's eyes. And that shines.
I feel that this subject can go so deep, and I don't want to like ask you questions that are shallow, you know, that we all know about Tantra, such as, you know, the male does not ejaculate and the woman has multiple orgasms. I don't want to go to that unless you want to go.
This is the juicy part that she's talking about, right? The juicy.
Unless you want to go there and explain us a little bit deeper what it is.
Okay, so in the ancient practices Tao and also in Tantra, there's a practice for the man to not release his seed. His ejaculation stays in, and yet he can experience a full body orgasm that's so profound, that is nothing compared to just a genital orgasm. And the reason behind this idea and philosophy is that the sperm carries what's called the Jing Chi. It's your energy source from when you were born. And if a man loses all of his Jing Chi, his life force starts to go down. His vitality starts to go down. And so this is so important, and many people that have knowledge of this, and the men who practices this, they can't even go back to their old ways. because they can see the physical manifestation of that particular practice, and seeing their hairs, for example, their hairs are growing back, they're stronger, they have more energy, they have life force, their eyes are bright. It's incredible. And now for the women are lucky. They can have as many orgasms as they want. But what happens with the practice for women, this particular exercise is for women, is that the women start to condition themselves to have full body multiple orgasms that are so intense, and it's so amazing. You know, if we were to put a sound, for example, if somebody's orgasm sounds like this, you know, that lasted what, like 2 seconds, and that was it? The party's over, right? But if a woman can embrace this kind of practice and make love to her beloved, or him, or her, or girl to girl, boy to boy, there's no discrimination, then the orgasms that can be felt, or it's like a soprano, it's like, whoa! And it just goes on and on and on, and it lasts, literally it lasts that much of a length. It's incredible.
Practice, 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 make it perfect. Okay, I wish we could have like a 10-hour interview workshop with Solla. So if you would like to get in contact with her and go and learn with her, go to her Tantra workshops, wellness, please tell us your website, how can we find you, and if you have something that we can go and experience this medicine that you offer.
If you find me on Facebook, my business page is Solla Wellness on Facebook, and all kinds of videos and workshop retreats, everything is there, testimonials, and my website is sollawellness.com. It's SOLLA wellness.com.
Thank you so much, Solla. It was a pleasure having you, sharing. Guys, please send this video to everyone, subscribe below, like the video, make a comment. If you have any questions, I'll make sure to pass it on to Solla so we can have it responded right away. Thank you so much for watching us, and until next time.
Thank you.
Thank you.